The Riverstone Mall food court was a Saturday afternoon whirlwind, a chaotic blend of chattering families, giggling teens, and retirees sipping coffee under the harsh glow of fluorescent lights. The air was thick with the mingled scents of greasy pizza, cinnamon pretzels, and spilled soda. Ellen Marsh, a 44-year-old widowed nurse, threaded through the crowd, her arms straining under the weight of grocery bags from the mall's supermarket. Her faded purse hung loosely over her shoulder, and her eyes, framed by faint lines of exhaustion, stayed fixed ahead. After a grueling 12-hour shift at Mercy General Hospital, all she wanted was to get home to her 16-year-old daughter, Mia, and 10-year-old son, Lucas. Since her husband, Tom, lost his battle with cancer 4 years ago, Ellen had been their rock, her quiet resilience holding their small world together despite the bills, the long hours, and the ache of loss. At a corner table near the sushi kiosk, a man watched her, his broad frame hunched over a flat soda, his scarred knuckles gripping the cup. Derek Holt, 38, a former Army Ranger, was a shadow of the soldier he'd once been. Decorated for valor in Afghanistan, Derek's life had unraveled after a dishonorable discharge, a bar fight that spiraled out of control, fueled by untreated PTSD and too much whiskey. Jobs came and went, his marriage collapsed, and now, scraping by in a rundown apartment, desperation had twisted his once sharp instincts into something darker. Ellen, with her distracted steps and overloaded arms, looked vulnerable, an easy mark for a man teetering on the edge. As Ellen passed a packed smoothie stand, Derek moved like a predator, his heavy boots silent against the polished tiles. In a heartbeat, he grabbed her purse, yanking it with enough force to snap the strap. Her grocery bags hit the floor. Apples scattering, a loaf of bread crushed, a carton of milk bursting open in a white puddle. Wallet. Now, Derek growled, his 6 feet 3 inches frame looming over her slight 5 feet 2 inches build. Ellen froze, her heart hammering, her hands trembling as she clutched the torn purse. "Please," she whispered, her voice barely audible, "I don't have much. Just take it." Derek's eyes narrowed, his patience thin. He shoved her hard, sending her crashing into a metal table, her elbow slamming against the edge with a sharp cry. The crowd around them stilled, some smirked, others pulled out phones, recording the scene. A teenage girl in a crop top snickered to her friend, "Look at her, totally pathetic." Another kid laughed, "Bet she cries." The apathy cut deeper than Derek's aggression, and Ellen's cheeks burned with humiliation as she scrambled to her knees, pleading, "I have kids. Please, just stop." Across the food court, Jason Statham, the 57-year-old action star, sat at a small table, blending into the chaos with a black baseball cap pulled low and sunglasses perched on his nose. On a rare break from Hollywood's relentless pace, fresh off filming a high-octane thriller in London, he'd come to the mall to escape, to feel normal for a few hours. His calloused hands wrapped around a black coffee, and his sharp eyes scanned the crowd, a habit from his days as a scrappy kid in South London, long before his action films made him a household name. But the scene unfolding, Ellen's fear, Derek's menace, the crowd's indifference, hit him like a spark to gasoline. Jason had grown up dodging bullies, scrapping in alleys, and something in him couldn't stomach watching this. His jaw tightened, and he stood, his 5 feet 10 inches frame radiating a quiet, coiled intensity that needed no stunt double. Jason weaved through the crowd, his steps measured but purposeful, the air thickening as onlookers sensed a shift. Derek, oblivious, grabbed Ellen's wrist, twisting it as she gasped, "Please, my kids need me." Her voice cracked, and a few bystanders shifted uncomfortably, but no one moved. Jason's voice sliced through the noise, low and steady with his Cockney edge, "Oi, mate. Let her go. Now." Derek spun, his smirk fading as he sized up the man in the cap. "Who the hell are you?" he growled, stepping closer, his bulk dwarfing Jason. Whispers rippled through the crowd, "Is that Statham?" "Nah, can't be." But Jason ignored them, his eyes locked on Derek's, unflinching. Last chance, he said, his tone calm but laced with steel. Ellen, trembling on the floor, whispered, "Please, don't get hurt." Jason gave her a quick glance, his look steady, reassuring, "I got this." Derek laughed, a harsh bark, and swung a heavy fist at Jason's face. But Jason was ready. Years of stunt choreography and real-world grit made him a blur. He dodged, grabbed Derek's arm, and twisted it behind his back in a fluid motion, forcing the bigger man to his knees with a grunt. The crowd gasped, phones still rolling, some now cheering. Derek roared, breaking free and charging like a bull, his fist aimed at Jason's chest. Jason sidestepped, landing a sharp jab to Derek's jaw, then a knee to his midsection, each move precise, controlled, like a scene from one of his films but raw, real. Derek staggered, gasping, but lunged again, desperation fueling him. Jason ducked, grabbed a nearby tray, and used it to deflect Derek's fist, the plastic cracking under the force. With a swift pivot, he swept Derek's legs, sending him crashing to the floor, and pinned him with a knee to his back. "Stay down," Jason said, his voice cold, final, "or you won't get up." Mall security pushed through, late but urgent, cuffing Derek as he panted, his fight drained. The crowd erupted. Some clapped, others shouted, "That's Jason Statham." But Jason waved it off, turning to Ellen, who knelt amid her scattered groceries, tears streaking her face as she clutched her bruised wrist. He crouched beside her, his voice softer now. "You all right, love?" he asked, picking up a stray apple and handing it to her. Ellen nodded, her breath shaky. "Thank you. I didn't know what to do." Her eyes met his, gratitude mixing with embarrassment. Jason's face softened, a rare smile breaking through. "You're tougher than you look. You'll be fine." As security hauled Derek away, the crowd's mood shifted. A young mom, holding a toddler, handed Ellen a new grocery bag, her voice quiet. "I'm so sorry I didn't help sooner." A teenage boy, one of the earlier mockers, picked up her crushed bread and muttered, "Didn't mean to laugh. That was messed up." An older man, who'd been filming, slipped his phone away, shamefaced, and helped gather her cans. The collective guilt hung heavy, but Jason's stand had sparked something, a ripple of humanity in a place that had felt cold moments before. Jason stayed with Ellen, helping her carry her bags to her beat-up Corolla in the parking lot. She opened up, her voice steadier now, talking about Mia's dream of becoming an artist, Lucas's obsession with soccer, and how Tom's cancer had left them with a mountain of debt. "I keep going for them," she said, her eyes distant but fierce. Jason listened, his silence a kind of respect, like he understood the weight of carrying others' hopes. He'd had his own struggles, growing up rough, scraping by before Hollywood, losing friends along the way. "You're doing right by them," he told her, leaning against her car. "That's more than most can say." Ellen's eyes welled up, and she scribbled her number on a crumpled receipt. "If you're ever in town, come for dinner. Mia would lose her mind, she loves your movies." Jason chuckled, pocketing it. "Might just take you up on that. Tell her I'm better at eating spaghetti than fighting blokes." In the mall security office, Derek sat cuffed, his head bowed. The head guard, a grizzled ex-cop named Ray, studied him. "You're a ranger, aren't you?" Ray said, spotting the tattoo on Derek's arm. "Seen that look before. You're not this guy." Derek's jaw clenched, his voice low. "Lost my way, man." Ray nodded, sliding a card for a veteran support group across the table. "Doesn't have to stay that way." Derek didn't touch the card, but his eyes lingered on it, a flicker of the man he'd been stirring beneath the anger. Back in the food court, the chaos resumed, but it wasn't the same. Strangers shared tables, helped with trays, even struck up conversations. A kid offered an elderly woman a chair, and a group of teens cleaned up a spilled drink for a harried mom. Jason, back at his table, sipped his coffee, his cap low again. A few fans approached, asking for selfies, but he brushed them off with a polite, "Just here for the coffee, mate." He wasn't a hero, just a guy who couldn't stand by while someone got hurt. But in that moment, he'd done more than stop a bully. He'd reminded a crowd, and maybe himself, that one act of courage could wake up a room full of hearts. As Ellen drove home, her hands still shaky but her spirit lighter, she glanced at her kids' photos taped to the dashboard. She'd tell them about today, not just the fear, but the stranger who stepped in, the crowd that turned around. And Jason, pulling out of the lot on his motorcycle, felt the weight of the day settle. Hollywood was waiting, but for now, this was enough, knowing he'd made a difference, not for a camera, but for real.